Welcome to Second Economy, Charleston's channel for crypto education and news. I'm your host, Joe Rubio. My hope for this video is to help people understand what the inner workings of the blockchain are. I believe it's the missing jigsaw piece to the internet. I also believe that understanding how it works is crucial to seeing that. This video is to help you understand. Now, full disclosure, I am invested in the crypto markets. My current holdings include Solana, Matic, XRP, and AVAX, Avalanche, to name a few. I'll be explaining 10 core concepts of Web3 without getting too technical. So let's jump in it. Number 1, cryptocurrency. In 2009, an anonymous person, Satoshi Nakamoto, wrote a business plan, a white paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. In it, he described how technology could enable investors to deal directly with each other instead of operating from within a centralized exchange. For example, when you trade any stock, it goes through a clearinghouse to verify that the buyer is buying that stock from a seller. They, and the brokerage you use, then collect a fee on that transaction. Decentralized markets allows us to get rid of that third party. Also, this would help us solve main issues with savings accounts. Banks give you interest for holding your money, right? I don't think the rates are very good. The national average is only 0.21%. Usually they're just using that money that you keep there for other transactions such as their own investments. So while they make returns off your money, they throw you the scraps. Virtual currency helps us realize gains that just weren't possible in the old financial system. Something else worth using as an example would be with Amazon. You buy, Amazon takes a cut, the seller gets the rest. This would be a centralized market since Amazon is the third party that makes the transaction possible. They act as the intermediary. I think at this point, most of you are familiar with which virtual currencies are out there. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Matic. It's been all over the news and lots of big players are just starting to jump on board and build. But how are they currencies? How are they validated, and what makes them legit? How can we use them? Much in the way that we use our current currencies, trust is needed. Which brings me to the second on our list, cryptography. Governments assure that their currencies are legit through an intricate system of borrowing and spending, and it's mainly all built on trust. Let's take the American dollar for instance. We can trust that the guys on Capitol Hill are helping the currency retain value, so you can buy your 10,000th cup of Starbucks coffee or 500th hot dog at Costco. Who cares? Now, how does this apply to virtual currencies? Let's start this with an analogy of a real-world transaction like signing a bank check that needs your signature. A trustworthy and secure signature requires it to have the following properties. It should be verifiable by others that is indeed your signature. It should be counterfeit-proof such that no one else can forge your signature. And it should be secure from any possibility of denial by the signer later. That is, you can't just renege on a commitment once you've signed it. Cryptocurrencies emulate the concept of real-world signatures by using cryptography techniques and encryption keys. Cryptography methods use advanced mathematical codes to talk to the network securely and ensures that the data can be received, read, and processed by the user it is intended. In other words, double check those transactions before you let them go through. It's final and it can't be reversed. It's happened to me like twice now. It also ensures authenticity of the transaction and participant, like a real-world signature. So it's not just about the currencies themselves. The huge innovation here is number 3, the blockchain. Simplest way to put this, it's a public distributed ledger and it's shared among the nodes of a computer network, but we'll get to that in a second. What makes the blockchain unique is the way the information is structured. It collects information together in groups known as blocks, and once those blocks are filled, they are closed and linked to a previously filled block, hence the name blockchain. You can think of it like a room full of filing cabinets. The files inside sometimes get jumbled. The blockchain would allow the files to stay where they are for eternity, and each filing cabinet would be linked to another verifying that the files are indeed in that order. As a database, the blockchain stores information electronically. They are integral to securing networks like Bitcoin and Ethereum. They also maintain a secure and decentralized record of transactions, so no one entity owns the blockchain. The main innovation here is that it guarantees the fidelity and security of a record of data and generates trust without the need for a third party. But how is this possible though? Doesn't there need to be some group of old men at the top verifying everything? No, not anymore. The blockchain helps us to regain a bit more of control. Which brings me to number 4, nodes. Anyone can run a node with the right resources. Now, while the ways nodes are run and the minimum requirement for each network may be different, the idea is pretty much the same. These nodes hold the blockchain together. Remember that distributed ledger I was talking about? It is the responsibility of fully validating nodes to download all transactions on the network and validate them with other nodes. There are two main consensus mechanisms: proof of work and proof of stake. Which brings me to number 5, proof of work. As of late, proof of work consensus is getting a bad rap because of its effect on the environment, but it's still worth going over. Imagine a string of supercomputers all over the globe being a part of a massive network, like literally specific machines just to mine a cryptocurrency. Constantly, there is a race happening. These computers lend their computing power to compete in a giant math competition for the next coin that is minted on the network. The more computing power, the more likely you're going to win the race and the stronger the network, so it's a win-win for everybody. But there is a more green way to get these rewards. Number 6, proof of stake. A much more environmentally friendly way to run a network. Proof of stake is the seemingly new minimum requirement for cryptocurrencies and their networks. So much so that Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency, literally changed their network for it. Proof of stake reduces the amount of computational work needed to verify blocks and transactions by using the machines of coin owners, so there doesn't need to be as much computational work done. The owners offer their coins as collateral, staking, for the chance to validate blocks and then become validators. And it usually comes with very good APRs, 2 to 10%. Instead of giving your money to the banks and allowing them to invest your money into their own efforts, staking allows you to take control of your own money, capture more profits, secure a network that you like, and it usually accrues daily. This type of consensus mechanism has a few defining characteristics. Validators earn transaction fees based on the number of coins they stake. The next block writer on the blockchain is selected at random, with higher odds being assigned to nodes with larger stake positions. It structures compensation in a way that makes an attack less advantageous. It's just more spread out. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention proof of history, which uses the timestamps on each transaction to define the next block on Solana's chain, but that's for a whole different video. For any of you who thinks it's fake money, the value isn't in the coins themselves. The networks are the motivation here. So let's talk about how these networks can actually make a difference in our lives. Number 7, smart contracts. These self-executing contracts were created in 2015 by Vitalik Buterin, Ethereum's founder. The terms of the agreement between buyer and seller are directly written into the lines of code that exist on the blockchain. The code controls the execution, and transactions are trackable and immutable. Smart contracts permit trusted transactions and agreements to be carried out among anonymous parties anywhere in the world, without the need for a central authority, legal system, or external enforcement mechanism. This technology has been the genesis of many innovations on the internet. Number 8, decentralized applications. dApps are digital programs that exist and run on a public blockchain's network instead of a single computer. The way dApps are created makes sure it is outside of the purview and control of a single authority. Think of the possibilities: gaming, finance, social media, just to name a few. Let's use an example. A standard web app, such as Uber or Twitter, runs on a computer system that is owned and operated by an organization, giving it full authority over the app and its workings. There may be multiple users on one side, but the backend is controlled by a single entity. Big corporations are able to monetize the data that comes through their systems because of that ownership. Which brings me to our next building block. Number 9, non-fungible tokens. NFTs are cryptographic assets on a blockchain with unique identification codes and metadata that distinguish them from each other. To understand this more, think of the US dollar. This is an example of a fungible asset. You can trade $1 for another dollar and you have essentially the same item. The Mona Lisa, on the other hand, this is a very non-fungible asset. There's only one in the world, and it even has its own value because of that. Even a certificate saying that it's original and authentic. Imagine what we can do with digital assets that are unique, have their own values, and instantly verifiable. Number 10, DAOs. The unique thing about decentralized autonomous organization is its bottoms-up approach to management. It has no central governing body, and the members share a common goal to act in the best interest of the entity. DAOs rely heavily on smart contracts. These logically coded agreements dictate decision-making based on underlying activity on a blockchain. For example, based on the outcome of a decision, certain code may be implemented to increase the circulating supply, burn of a select amount of reserved tokens, or issue select rewards to existing token holders. It all comes down to the voting process to make those decisions. The voting process for DAOs is posted on a blockchain, and users must often select between mutually exclusive options. Voting power is often distributed across users based on the number of tokens they hold. For example, one user that owns 100 tokens of the DAO will have twice the weight of voting power over a user that owns only 50 tokens. DAOs can operate through NFTs as well. These NFTs have codes in their smart contracts that give certain benefits to token holders. Let's take one of my favorite projects right now, Meadow Brew Society. They launched 6,000 NFTs with a mint price of $1,050 on the Ethereum blockchain, paid in Ether, of course. This sounds like a lot until you break down its benefits. Holders are going to receive an average of 200 free cans of beer every year. They get revenue share on sales, exclusive brewery events, exclusive discounts, and voting rights on which beer to brew, which city they're going to open another brewery, and a lot of other important business decisions that they haven't disclosed yet. But I'm excited. I'm excited, and I see this. This is where a lot of this is going. It's going to ticketing. It's going to events. It's going to loyalty programs. You know, there's a lot of different examples out there right now. Google's starting to build. Starbucks is implementing an NFT program. It's called Odyssey. I'll leave the link in the description below, and you guys can check that out. But I mean, you know, if they nail this, the amount of adoption that's going to be happening is going to be nuts. And it's nothing really new. It's already for the rewards members. So if you're a reward member at Starbucks, you got an NFT on the way. But this for the people approach to business is the future. It gives power back to the people that actually use the services. It helps to spread wealth and decision making while still retaining that air of capitalism. True democracy. As I said before, this is the missing piece of the internet. Web 1 is about populating the internet with information. Web 2 is about sharing that information. Web 3's main characteristic is about ownership. That's it for this video. Let me know what concepts you'd like to see me go more in depth in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.